and I would have like a lot of survivor's guilt because seeing all my friends die young, and it'd be like I was just with you like an hour ago and now you're gone, and I would think it could have been me or it should have been me instead.
What is up, you guys? I'm your host, Alannized, and this is Noche de Pendejadas, your favorite podcast turned talk show en donde yo traigo a tus influencers favoritos para platicar y posiblemente sacarle sus trapitos al sol. Hoy les tengo un episodio, amigas, que yo sé que allá en casita ustedes están súper emocionadas de escuchar. So without any further ado, please help me welcome my guest tonight, Gabe!
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
I am so excited de tenerte aquí el día de hoy. I know a lot of you guys have requested them. And you know what's so funny? When we got in contact to make this happen, I was actually super excited. I was telling your manager that I'm so excited to be able to have you here to tell your story, because I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I see a lot of the clips. I see a lot of like the TikTok videos, and I'm like, you know what? Yo sé que hay más to Gabe than just those clips. So I'm so excited to be able to have you. Before we start with today's episode, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the mic so you can go ahead and tell us a little bit more of who you are and what you do.
My name is Gabe. I'm 21. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I do TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok lives. I literally come out here every weekend. It's like a second home to me. I'm just staring at Airbnbs every other weekend out here. So
do you have plans to like come out here and live anytime soon?
I think about it, but then I think about like taxes and the traffic.
But I feel like if you're always commuting, might as well fucking move out here, no?
Yeah, I think about it. I spend so much money, like as much as you pay for a house to live out here on Airbnb.
I bet, because Airbnbs, especialmente, amigas, en Los Angeles están bien caros. They're so expensive in LA that I'm like, fuck. Because I know you were here last weekend.
Yeah.
Then you came this weekend.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to come next weekend.
Yeah,
I'm like, ya mejor que se mueva para acá, amigas.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited to have him here with us today so we can get to learn a little bit more about him. We're going to go ahead and start off with today's interview with the question that I love starting with. Tell us a little bit more about your childhood. How was Gabe growing up?
I was a very funny kid. I was kind of to myself when it comes to like school and stuff, but at home I was very close to my family, my cousins. I was very close to my cousins. My cousins are like my best friends growing up. We were always just messing around with each other, being funny, doing pranks on each other. I was a silver tooth kid growing up. I was always fighting kids, doing dumb things like ding dong ditching. I remember when I was a kid, I used to buy like BB guns from the ice cream man. I don't know if they still sell those, but back then they did. They were like
with the little orange bullets.
Yeah, they're like $1 or $2. I would buy them and I would shoot at like kids in the neighborhood. And I was just being mean to like other kids. I was kind of not a bully, but it would be like we'd have like little beefs in the neighborhood. I didn't like that kid on that block.
So like,
whatever.
Boom.
Yeah, I was shooting. Literally, it was so bad.
Would they ever come complain to your mom and dad?
Yeah, their parents would come to my house, or my parents would go to their house. It was bad. My heart would like drop down, and I'd get grounded. They would take my game away, or I couldn't go out for a week or something like that.
But still wouldn't learn?
Yeah, I would still keep
You're like, I would still be fucking BB gunning these kids. I want to talk a little bit about something that happened very early on in your life. Around the age of 7 and 8, your parents separated. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I was around like 6, I don't know, I'd say like 7, 8. I kind of understood that they weren't, doing the best. I would see them fight, like argue. I would just always hear them arguing, in the other room, or sometimes I'd hear it in the car. I could just tell that they weren't happy with each other, and I didn't understand it, like how unhealthy it was. But I remember seeing them, or them telling us, hey, we're not going to live together no more. We're breaking up. And that affected me a lot. I feel like it made me depressed. Like really young, I was very depressed, like at 8 or 9 because of this. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand like why my mom wanted to leave my dad, and I was too young to get it. But I just seen it like as my mom kind of walking out on us. But I would still see my mom like every weekend. We had like a little rotation. This weekend with my dad, next weekend with my mom. And it was just like that for years,
Did you get to choose who like you were staying with, or did your mom just kind of like went on her own and you stayed with your dad?
It was like they had like a set schedule. There was no like legal thing involved saying, you got to spend X amount of time with them. It was just this weekend's your dad's weekend, next weekend's your mom's weekend, kind of just like that. It made me had a lot of like resentment towards my mom because like I said, I didn't understand. I was too young to understand. For a long time, up until my teenage years, I disliked my mom. Like I felt like she walked out on us, kind of. Even though, like I said, I would see her every weekend, I had this idea of her made up, because I didn't understand. I would just think about like, I wish they were together. Like, why are they doing this? Because they were still always fighting with each other, even though they weren't together. Like we'd have drop-off spots with me in the parking lot. I'd leave my dad's, go to my mom's, and they would argue and talk. And they would fight on the phone still. And I would just like, I hate being like this. I just want to live in the same house together, because when they were together, we had a really nice house, like a 5-bedroom house, 2 stories, you know, and we had like some family living with us. And it just felt like everyone was together and closer. And whenever they had separated, it felt like everybody kind of like, my family all got distant from each other. And it was hard. I know it was really hard on my dad. I had seen him like very sad and depressed. And it was hard on him financially too, to maintain, you know, having a 5-bedroom house and a car payment and all that stuff. And I seen my dad struggle a lot, and like I said, I didn't understand it, so I just disliked my mom because I seen my dad struggling, and I don't know, it just broke me. You know,
were you
my
vocal about like the dislike you had for your mom at an early age?
My mom knows. My mom knows. She always brings it up to this day. Every time I see her, remember you used to hate me? Remember you used to be so evil and say these things to me? Because I would.
What would you say, or what would you do?
I would literally say that I hate you, or I don't want to be here. I want to go to my dad's. You know, like. I would straight up tell her. Like I said, I was too little to understand anything. I would literally pray for them to get back together. I remember one Christmas, I asked for them to get back together. Obviously they didn't, but I hoped that they would, you know, one day. It wasn't about to like 2 or 3 years later that they started seeing other people. That was even harder on me, because I was like, yeah, they're not getting back together. For my dad, I don't know why. I think it's just because he was like my friend. It made me happy to see him like not down and so sad, you know? It made me happy to see my dad happy. But for some reason, I didn't want to see my mom move on. But my dad ended up like introducing us to my now stepmom, his girlfriend at the time. I wasn't a big fan of her, I'm not gonna lie, at first, just because I don't want to see my parents move on, you know. But you know, after like a couple months, I kind of got used to being around her, and he introduced us to her like at a family party. My dad would always go over to my uncle's house, and we would just have like cookouts and barbecues there, you know. He brought her one day, and I was like, who the fuck is this? She was actually younger than my dad. I think she's younger by like I think it's like 10 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's super young.
Younger
than your dad.
I think she was like 24, I think. And I must have been like, I think 11 or 12.
How was it with your mom when she finally started redoing her life?
She actually brought someone along, I think, way later than my dad, like a year after. But my dad had told me that my mom was talking to another guy. I'm assuming they told each other on the phone, you know, I'm seeing somebody else. My dad had told me, oh, your mom's talking to a guy and he's a cop. And I'm just thinking like, oh, she's with a square, you know? Like, I'm thinking all the bad things, and I'm thinking, oh, my mom's moving on already. And I was just angry. I didn't meet him till like a couple, like 6-7 months maybe after hearing about him. And I just didn't like him.
Is that the person she's with now or not?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How do you feel like your relationship with, you know, him has changed over the years? Do you feel like now as an adult, do you feel like you're a little bit more like, okay, you know, I can have a convo with you, te aguanto?
Yeah,
or do you feel like it's still very much like that?
It took some years, but he did grow on me. It wasn't just because of my mom moving on. We just didn't get along at first. You know, we had different perspectives on things, and he was raised different and I was raised different. And like, I didn't like that at all. He grew up like in a military household. I just grew up in a, you know, regular family, you know, just get good grades and stuff. But he would wake us up every morning, like at a certain time. You got to make your bed. You know, you got to clean the house. I've got to come home. The house has to be like spotless. Like he would come home, look at the kitchen table and like see if there's any. Yeah, literally just like that. This has to be swept. I mean, obviously I had chores at my other houses, but it was not like as intense. So it felt like when I would go to my mom's house and be around him, it felt like I was like at a boot camp. And I hated it so much because I couldn't do anything. You know, I just had to like just adjust to that lifestyle. When I was in 6th, 7th grade, me and my stepdad had like a disagreement, and I had told my dad about it, and he was like, I want to get custody of you guys. You know, I don't want you guys over there anymore. Or I want to have, you know, like majority of the like time with you guys, and you guys spend it on the weekends with her. Or every other weekend. And it was like a big like court thing that was going on for like a couple months. And then they ended up just agreeing on just 50-50. But during that time, it made me like even more just dislike my mom, because it seemed like she was trying to take me away from my dad. And it seemed like like I said, I always sided with my dad. My dad was like my best friend. So I just wanted to be with my dad. And like I said, I was too young to understand like why they weren't together. I hated seeing my mom move on. And I don't know, I just really wanted to be with my dad, like full time, you know, always with him. It wasn't about till I was like in my later teen years that I started to understand it more, you know, why they had chose to go their separate ways. And, you know, when you just get older, you just understand.
You realize, and you live
things,
through things, and you're like, oh shit, maybe that's what my parents went through.
Yeah,
type of shit. During that time, you fell in a deep depression, you know, you struggled a lot emotionally. Tell us how the divorce affected you emotionally. And when you did go into that depression, what was that like? I know that I struggled like a lot in school. Like I failed every single grade. I would just go to school and just sleep, and I wouldn't pay attention. I know I would, as soon as a test would get passed to me, I didn't care. Like I just wasn't thinking about my future, because I was more worried about, you know, what was going on at home.
Yeah, what was going on at home. And it definitely distracted me a lot, like hearing them fight or I know that during that time, my dad was struggling a lot financially, and there'd be times, we didn't have water or like electricity, and we'd get like eviction notices. So it would make me think like, where's my dad gonna be? Where are we gonna be? I was too young to even make any money, so I know I couldn't help my dad. But all I would think about, like, where's my dad gonna go? What's gonna happen with my dad? And my mom was living with her mom at the time, so I know things were a little bit easier on her, like money-wise. I know I'd go to my mom's and I would just think like, how is my dad doing? What is he doing? How is he taking it,
Going through a divorce as a kid is very confusing. And I feel like it really does, play a big role with how you see relationships, with how you navigate even, talking to someone. Do you feel like them going through the divorce and living what you lived, do you feel like it affected the way you see relationships?
Yeah, it definitely did scare me. Like, I know it's my mom, but it made me think like that a woman can just leave, up and go whenever she feels she needs to, or she feels it's not working for her. And I seen my dad like trying and trying and trying to make things work, and it just wasn't enough, to fix what had happened. But it made me definitely just know that, nothing's forever, nothing's promised, and especially with love, things are not always gonna be sunshines and rainbows, like it's not always gonna be a honeymoon phase. That sometimes people just grow apart,
Did you have a conversation with your parents about how you had been feeling like your childhood, or was it just something that you learned on yourself, never really addressed it to them?
I'd say like all through elementary, middle school and stuff, up until like I think my junior year, I was always sad and depressed. Like I remember I'd get out of school, just go to bed, just stay in my room all day, just be in my bed and playing video games, and I wouldn't go out, I wouldn't talk to nobody, just always negative, and I started to like just be on my mind so much. Like I'd be in class just zoning out, thinking about this happened back then, this happened, just reflecting on all the trauma and all that stuff. I started to get like a really bad stutter from my stress. I would stutter a lot. Like I couldn't complete sentences I couldn't do like any presentations in school. I couldn't talk in front of like a crowd of people. If I was here, I would be like, it was so bad. Like my stutter was so bad. My mom started noticing like, why are you stuttering so much? And we had like did some research, and it was due to so much stress, and like I felt like I was so overwhelmed and anxious, and it was all because of like the traumatic stuff I went through. I had to address it, and it was because I was so angry at my mom I felt like she walked out on us. So my mom had a talk because she had did some research, and she was saying it's from stress, and she's like, what are you stressing about? You're 15, 16, you're just in high school, you don't have no bills, no responsibilities. And I told her, at this point, my dad is already living with his new girlfriend, and we're living in a house with her husband. And so it's like been years already, but it's still just in the back of my mind. And I had to just tell her, like, I hate you. I hate you felt like you walked out on us. You left my dad, you left him to struggle, and I don't trust you. Like, I don't trust that you love me. And during this time, she would show me affection more, and I just didn't, like, I wasn't going for it. Like, I felt like it was fake. Like, because during the times where I was angry at her, I would straight up say, like, I hate you. I don't like you. I don't want to be here, And I'm probably to a mom that hurts a lot, and I didn't understand, that I'm just saying stuff because I'm angry at her. But I know she would be super, like, kind of just less affectionate with me, and I know she would try to make an effort to like get like a relationship with me growing up, like during that time, but I just wasn't going for it, All that resentment had built up for years and years and years, and I just couldn't hold it in no more. And I had it was like a 4-hour conversation with my mom late at night, like on a school night. I remember I had just got out of work. I was like 16 at the time, and I was just telling her like, I hate that you did this. I hate that you did that. And she started telling me, well, you don't know about this, you don't know about that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I understand now. Maybe it was good that you guys never stuck it out. It just felt good, saying like why I was so angry at you and addressing the problem, and I feel like after that day, like the stutter just completely went away. And I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I started trying in school. I've never ever passed classes up into that year. Like it was my junior year, and I don't know where I just had straight A's. I don't know what happened, but I just started like not thinking about the past so much and the traumatic things. I just started, just focusing on my future.
Do you feel like now as an adult, does that trauma still trigger you, or you're kind of like, I'm going to let things be what they are and I'm not going to carry that trauma with you? Or is there still moments in your life now where you're like, fuck?
There is little moments like where I'll be at her house or something. 'Cause sometimes I go over there just to vent to her, talked about, what I'm going through in life, my problems and my stresses. It's every couple of months I'll go over there, have a little breakdown, and we'll hug, and I'm like, what am I doing? This is weird, because there's still part of me that's like trying to have my guard up to not trust her, but I always remind myself, that's in the past now. She's my mom and she's my friend too.
Do you feel like now as an adult, you're still closer to your dad?
I'm actually not as close as I used to be. I wish I was closer to him because my later teen years, I started having problems with him, Like, as soon as I fixed things with my mom, I started having a little, like, not hatred towards him, but a different point of view on him, me growing up and had my own car because I was working, so I had enough to, like, just do whatever I want, have my own freedom. I would ask, because I was mainly at his house majority of the time. Once I turned 16, I kind of had my own choice, like, hey, do you want to live with your mom or your dad? And it was more convenient to stay with my dad because he was close to my school. My mom lived like 30 minutes away from where he lived, so I would stay with my dad, and all my friends were around his neighborhood, so I would want to go do things, and he'd be like, no, you can't. You got to be home at this time. And I'm like, I'm paying for all the things I want to do. Why are you trying to hold me back, But it was just him just trying to keep me safe. But in my head, I'm like, you're holding me back.
You're the enemy.
Yeah, you're holding me back from having fun.
As the enemy,
Like, why can't I stay out till 12 a.m. with my friends bullshitting, During that time, I was kind of like not seeing eye to eye with him and his girlfriend too. I felt like they were trying to like control me or do this and that. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm grown, I have a job, my grades are good, I have my own car, I pay for it, just let me do what I want to do. I'll come home and when I need to come home and get my get my school.
You're like, worry about y'all.
Yeah, literally. That's how I felt. I felt like I'm doing everything I need to do. Why are you trying to like not let me have fun, And it was weird because we would do a lot of things together, like just activities and stuff together, and I kind of had to find that with my friends now, Like, I would come home and he'd be like, where were you at? Or what did you do today? And I would just be like, I was with my friends. Just being a little, having attitude.
Like closed off.
Yeah, closed
like you kind of
off,
wouldn't open up to him anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't open up to him as much. Like I said, I was in a relationship and he would kind of tell me, you don't need to be in a relationship. You should be single. You're too young. And when I'm in a relationship, I'm like a simp. I'll spend all my time with that girl, all my money on that girl. My whole life revolves around a girl when I'm in a relationship. And he would tell me like, you're too invested in this. And I would take it like as, you just don't want me to be happy.
Yeah.
You just want me to be sad and stay home and be miserable.
Do you feel like you got that from him though? Like the simping?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. My dad is a simp. I'm not going to lie. And I think that's how I learned how to love from him. It's also like a good thing, but it's also bad because when things don't work out, it feels like your whole world just falls apart. And we would have like fights, me and that girl, we'd argue about like stupid things, high school stuff, and I would literally like stop. I was called off to work or I would miss classes.
For the girl?
Yeah. Like, it was bad. And
You're
my
like,
dad
we're fighting.
Yeah, my dad would tell me, like,
miserable.
you need to stop revolving your life around this girl. Like, this is bad. And I would just take it like, you just don't want me to be happy.
Yeah.
And I think girls were definitely my new, not replacement, I'd say, but that relationship I had with my dad, I would have it with these girls all my time and everything was around them. And my dad would dedicate all of his time to us, whatever he could. And whenever he was free, he would take us out, take us to the movies, do stuff with us, So not having that relationship with him made me try to feel that like,
void.
Yeah, with somebody else. And the only way I could think was like with the relationship.
After your parents' divorce, you kind of started working. Do you feel like the divorce almost made you like have to grow up quickly?
Yeah, because like I said, I had a weird relationship with my mom. And then I started having as I got older and matured, I started having a weird relationship with my dad. So I kind of just like, I need to do my own thing. I want to be my own adult. I want to move out. Like, I was trying to be grown. I didn't need to be grown, but I was like, as soon as I turn 18, I need to get out of this house. I want to have my own job and do all these things. So yeah, I was definitely trying to like distance myself from them because I started seeing my dad one way and my mom one way. And I was like, I can't trust either. In my head, I'm thinking I can't trust these people. They don't know what's good for me. But obviously, your parents always know what's best for you. But in my teenage head, I'm thinking, I know what's best for me.
Like they're stopping me.
Yeah, they're holding me back. That's how it felt, like they're holding me back.
Cuéntanos un poquito about your first job. You get hired at KFC. What made you be like, you know what, out of every job, I'm going to go to KFC and I'm going to get hired? What was that process like? Cuéntanos when you went to go drop off, the application to the point that you got hired, and what was working at KFC like?
So I had friends who had worked there and it was like kind of close to my school at the time and I didn't have a car. So I was like, it's just convenient because my mom had like lived on that side and she would pick us up, after school and she would take us to her house. So like, it's convenient. She could drop me off and I'll just go back to her house after school. I applied, I got the job like right away. I was just thinking, oh, my friends work here, and then they ended up moving me to a whole nother location. My friends weren't there. So I was like at a brand new location, but it was even closer to my mom's house, like 5 minutes away. So it worked out either way. And then I started telling all my friends at school, like, apply here, bro, you'll get the job. They just opened up. And I had like 5 different friends working there with me and we were in trouble, but we got everything done. But it was fun to work with my friends, and I would look forward to going to work. The only thing I didn't like, getting out late, like at 11, 12 o'clock.
Were you like a cashier or cook?
I was a cook. Yeah, I worked in the back. So I was just making chicken. I would like take food home every night. I was eating KFC every night. It was disgusting. I hate KFC now.
Was there any like KFC drama at work?
Oh, yeah. There was like little... I was in a relationship at the time, but I would see like my friends flirting with that person, like having little work relationships. There'd be like older girls working there, like in their late 20s, sometimes even 40s, talking to my friends who were like 18, 19. It was crazy. It was so weird.
Did you guys ever have like a crazy ass customer encounter?
I was always in the back, so I wouldn't see it. And there would be the days that I didn't work. And, I would hear about it, but there was always something going on. People complaining that their food's taking too long. It was usually that, because chicken takes like 20 minutes to fry, So there would always be people complaining about something. I would just stay in the back and mind my business. I would peek my head over, like, what's going on up there?
What the fuck is over
I would go up there and they're like, we need this. And I got to turn around and go back there and keep cooking.
Cuéntanos un poquito about your life in high school. Nos cuentas that during that time you started working, but how were you, when it came to school? Do you feel like you considered yourself like the shy, the popular, the rebelde kid? Tell us a little bit more about your high school years.
When it came to school, I was very quiet and respectful. I wasn't one of those kids who was like arguing with teachers, being ghetto. I would just go to school. At least for my freshman, sophomore year, I would just go to school and sleep. I would go in class and sleep every class because I would be like high, I would be smoking weed, being, I was a rebel, but I wasn't like obvious about it, I would just go to school and I would just, like during those times, my freshman, sophomore year, I did not care. I was just going to school because my parents, so I didn't get the call home, hey, he missed school today, And I would get out of school and go do bad shit with my friends, stuff that we shouldn't have been doing, and it got pretty bad. It got pretty serious. We were getting into a lot of trouble and, doing things that we didn't need to be doing and meeting other kids and just kind of getting too deep into things like kids who do the same things we're doing at other schools. And it got pretty bad. It wasn't until, I got in my relationship and started working that I was like distancing myself a little bit. And I started seeing those friends getting like locked up, getting in trouble. And I was still friends with them, but like from a distance, and I would, how you doing, bro? Just text people every now and then. Oh, this person got locked up. Did you hear this person got shot? And I was like, yeah, it's getting pretty bad, So I was like, I need to keep myself away from people like this. And being with that girl definitely helped me not be around it as much.
How did you get introduced to like the smoking? Was it something that like just with you and your friends, you're like, oh, here, smoke this. And you're like, oh, fuck it. How was that?
I think it was like in 8th grade. I don't even know. I was because I would always be out, walking around with my friends. Going over to my friend's house, and one of my friends was doing it, and he asked if I wanted to try it, and I just said, fuck it, I'll do it. Yeah. And it wasn't something that I was like hooked on or anything. I just tried it, didn't really think too much about it, never did it again. And up until my freshman year, when they had like came out with like carts and all that stuff, so it was easier to, get high and hide it, without having to be smoking and like.
Did your parents ever catch you?
Yeah, they did. They did caught me. I remember I got caught with like an ounce of weed one time. They had found it underneath my bed. I had like a whole jar full of it. I was so stupid. I think I had went on a camping trip with my friends and his family, and I was gone for the weekend. And I remember as soon as I got service, because we're like in the middle of nowhere, I look at my phone and I see my dad had texted me, hey, when you get home, we need to talk.
You're like, fuck, I already
knew what it was. I'm like, I'm about to need to pack my bags and get out tonight. I remember it was like the scariest thing ever. But my dad was just telling me, like, why are you doing this? Like he was like, you're selling it probably, you're doing this. And I was like, I'm not selling it. I was selling it. It was bad. And but it wasn't like I was like a drug dealer or anything. It was just like a friend, hey, I need this. And I'm like, I got you. I'll give you this, But it was pretty bad. Like that also started the hatred towards my dad, because he had like told me, you can't hang out with this person no more. You got to come home straight from school. You can't be out, and that's why I was like, as soon as I can get a job, I'm gonna get a job and do it the right way.
He was trying to cut like your bad influences off.
Yeah, definitely. And I was like, I'm gonna get a job and do it the right way, so you can't tell me nothing, And then I got with that girl, like I said, and she definitely helped me keep me out of trouble for.
Do you feel like your friends played a big role in like the bad influence, or was it something that you're like, you know what, I'm the bad influence?
I think I was. There's times where I was the bad influence. I'm not gonna blame them for anything because I did see some stuff, growing up with my cousins and seeing family members do stuff. So it's not like it was completely new to see drugs or anything. It was something I've been introduced to at a young age. So I wouldn't say that my friends, it was just, we're all doing it, let's do it together, you know?
I had a brother. Well, I have a brother like you. I am the smallest.
Yeah.
I have a sister above me and then 2 older brothers. And one of my oldest brothers got caught multiple times with weed.
Yeah.
One time we caught him smoking in our backyard with an apple, threw it over to the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
And my mom went to the neighbor's house
Yeah.
to retrieve this apple. Like, imagine going to your neighbor's house and like,
Yeah.
hey, we threw an apple over. Can we go get the apple? Like, bitch, go buy another apple. But it was because my mom wanted to see what the hell he was smoking. And I feel like for me being the youngest, it kind of like, I saw my brothers and my sisters just kind of go through it. And I feel like that kind of like put this thing in my head, like, you know what, like maybe don't do that. Because I didn't try alcohol or weed until I was over 21.
Oh, really?
I used to have this thing where I was so traumatized because I was like, oh my God, like I saw my brothers go through that shit. Did you have siblings?
Yeah, I have an older sister. Me and her are half related, so we have 2 different moms. But my dad had her when he was 15. So he had her when he was really young. I think he got his girlfriend at the time pregnant at 14, and the baby was at 15. So I had her. She's like, I think 4 years older than me. And then I have my younger brother who's 4 years younger than me as well. And then I have a step sibling there that's my dad's now, girlfriend. She was, I think, 8 years younger than me. So I definitely was like the bad kid,
Like the
that
bad
scared.
apple. Yeah.
I think it even influenced my older sister. Like, I'm not gonna be like him. And I went to school with my sister. Like, we went to the same high school and stuff. I think when I was a freshman, she was a senior. So she would see me, at school looking all high and being with little troublemakers.
She's like, that ain't my brother.
Yeah,
literally.
And then I know her friends would tell me, like, isn't that your brother? Or I heard your brother's doing this and stuff. And my sister would know about it. I feel like she definitely snitched on me or said something to my dad to give him an
Planted
idea.
some seeds in the
Give him an
parents,
idea to go and look in my room and find that, But, all my siblings are like squeaky clean compared to me.
Do you feel like you had a good relationship with them overall, or was it kind of just like everyone growing up at their own pace?
Yeah, everyone growing up at their own pace, yeah. Because as soon as, I think I was out of the house before my sister was. I know my brother, he's barely 18 right now, and he's working, he has a girlfriend, he's getting good grades, he's doing the complete opposite, but I still have like a cool relationship with him. But
like, does your brother go to you to like for advice and stuff like that?
Yeah, sometimes. But during my like late teen years, I was like just on my own. No one could tell me anything. I'm just doing my own thing. So I know that I definitely got really distanced with not just my parents, but even with my siblings when I was like 16, 17, 18. I kind of just went out to do my own thing.
And I feel like it happens, I feel like me too. Like, it kind of is sad. Like, you grow up with your siblings, your parents all your life. And I think for me, the reason why I kind of distance myself has to do with trauma. Like, I feel like I try to get away from things that trigger me. And a lot of the time that is my family. So I'm kind of like, I want to love you guys from afar, pero allá quédense. If you're struggling with your mental health, you can spend hours browsing online forums, scrolling social media, and reading expert advice to help you feel better. But while all these resources can be a good starting point, there's no replacement for real human relationships. It takes a real person to understand your human experience. So don't rely on generic advice online or on social media. Instead, use Alma to find a person who understands all the things that make you. That's why Alma makes it easy to connect with an expert therapist, a real person who can listen, understand, and support you through all your specific challenges. When you browse their online directory, you can filter by the qualities that matter to you. Then book a free 15-minute consultation with the therapist you're interested in seeing. Unlike other online therapy platforms that match you with the first available person, you can find someone you connect with on a personal level and see real improvements in your mental health with their support. Ustedes saben, amigas, the rough couple of months que he pasado. Hace más de 6 meses perdí a mi abuelito y honestamente yo siento que hubiera sido la oportunidad perfecta para empezar terapia, porque pues obviamente ustedes saben, dealing with grief is really hard and confusing, y siento como que si yo hubiera empezado terapia en ese momento, I feel like my grieving process would have been smoother. But it's never too late to start therapy. Better with people, better with Alma. Visit helloalma.com/Alan to get started and schedule a free consultation today. That's helloalma.com/ALAN. That is helloalma.com/Alan. Quiero platicar about how you started on social media. Obviamente, ahorita te vemos all over the For You page, but it wasn't always like that.
Yeah, no.
Tell us a little bit about what motivated you to get started on social media and what it was like in your early stages of content creating.
Ever since I was like a little kid, I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. I think since I was like 11, I used to just watch gaming YouTubers and vloggers, and I looked up to all these people. I'd say definitely a big like role model to me was Rice Gum. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yes.
Yeah, so I
Oh
was
my
like
God, does he
2016.
do things anymore? I don't think so, right?
I don't know, but I had like interaction with him like a couple years ago, and I literally felt like, to me, it felt like I met like
Your idol.
I remember like 2016, 2015, I was like, I want to be a vlogger. I want to make diss tracks, but I never did it.
Yeah.
But I just knew that I always wanted to do like social media. Like, I don't know what it was going to be, but I wanted to be famous for something and be entertaining, you know? I think it wasn't until I was 16, 17, TikTok had got big like in 2020, I think it was. And I had seen all these people going like viral for like this dumbest things, you know? And I was like, I kind of understand how the algorithm works. I think I could be famous myself. During that time, I think I was, 16, 17. I was working 2 full-time jobs because I had dropped out during quarantine because the girl that I was with during that time, we had like a little accident. I had got her pregnant, and I didn't know how to tell my parents, and she didn't know how to tell her parents. So we were both scared and kind of just kept it to ourselves. And I know that my dad had told me all the time growing up, if you get a girl pregnant and you're living under my roof, you're out of here. Because he had a kid at like 15, and he went through that. I think his mom had kicked him out, and ever since then, he was kind of like his own parent. So I was always scared, you know, to tell my dad. So I just kept it to myself, and I told them, hey, I think I'm just going to get my GED, and, you know, I'm going to work 2 full-time jobs and just work my ass off. And during that time, I was saving up. So when the day comes and the baby's out and I have to tell them, I can
so you were
afford to live on my
to go
own.
through the whole pregnancy and not even mention a thing?
Yeah, literally, because I was so scared. I did not want to tell my dad or my mom. She didn't want to tell her parents either. And I was just like, I'm going to try to save up as much money as I can till the day comes. He kicks me out. And like I said, I had this plan in my head. It's a pretty dumb plan. But to my 16-year-old mind, I'm thinking like, this is going to work. I'll figure it out, you know? I'm working 2 jobs that are paying me like $12 an hour. Sometimes they'd give me overtime. But I was working both of them full time, and I'm only 16 years old. And I had saved up like a bunch of money, like a couple thousand. I think it was like $13,000, and that's a lot to have.
That's a lot of money for a kid.
For working, you know, just working a job. And I was thinking like this should be enough to get me into an apartment or something, or maybe I can get an older friend and be like, hey, co-sign or something, you know, help me get this apartment. I think it was about 3 months in to our 3 or 4 months in, she had a miscarriage, and we didn't really know what was going on. We didn't understand. Like, she was just saying that she was bleeding a lot and it wouldn't stop, you know, and it went on. I think she had bled out like for like a month. She said like she had like, it was like a period basically.
And at that time, you guys didn't even tell her parents or yours?
No, we didn't.
So you guys were just kind of going through all that by yourselves?
Yeah, just going through it. And it was hard on her and it was hard on me too. And we both, we were too young to understand, you know, like even how the body works, you know, but it was bad for our relationship too. It caused a lot of problems. It made her super like insecure, and I was constantly have to reassure her, you know, I'm not going nowhere. I'm here to stay. And I told her, you know, I'm going to do social media because I want to make some extra money, you know. And during that time, I was thinking, you know, I could do social media. If it makes me some side income, I can keep stacking up, you know, and maybe, you know, I'll be able to afford to live on our own, you know. And that was my motivation to do social media, because I was like, I need to do something now because my grades were too bad to get into college and my GPA was terrible. And you know, no one in my family has ever been to college or like graduated from, I don't think my parents even graduated from high school. So in my head, I'm thinking, you know, there's only one way but like a job, like a 9-to-5 job. But I'm thinking, you know, social media might be my thing. I might be able to make it out with this and make a living off of it. And literally my first TikTok I posted, I got 10,000 followers first day.
The first one. Do you remember what it was?
It was so stupid. It was like a trend. It was way back then to what you look like before quarantine and during quarantine. It was like 4 months into quarantine.
Okay. Was it like those, like when people would gain weight? Because I'm like, I think I posted one of those too, because I gained 80 pounds during quarantine.
Everybody was doing those, but I did it like as a joke. I showed like me, and because I was in high school at the time, like it was like a video of me in like the bathroom at high school and like looking in the mirror. And then it cuts to a video where I have this like Botox lip filler, like high cheekbone filter on, and like, it was just to be funny, you know, and it had got like a couple 100,000 views, you know, and I got like 10K off of that. And in my head, like I'm thinking like I'm gonna be rich one day, like off of this.
You're like, when do I move to LA?
Yeah, literally. When I moved to LA, and I think within like my first month of being on TikTok, I just kept making like just funny videos, you know, like skits, point of view videos. And I had got to like 30K, I think, within my first month of doing TikTok. And in my head, I'm all like big headed about it, you know, because people from my school would be like, dang, you know, congratulations. And that's like being like
famous.
Yeah, having 30K. So it meant so much to me. And then I don't know where I get banned from posting something.
For what?
I think I had put something in the caption that was like inappropriate, like a cuss word or something, or it was like suggestive. It said like suggestive content or something like, I don't know. And my world fell apart. I was like, I gotta start all over again. I started all over within like 6 months of a new account. I got to like 150K. So that was like a new high for me. Then it got banned for the same thing. I did it again, got to another account within like a month. I had like 50K. Then it got banned again. And I'm just like, all right, I could do it. I've done it already 3 times. I could do it. Like, I got it now.
Did that dismotivate you though? Because I would have given up. I would have been like, fuck this shit.
It would. It definitely would. I had lost that account. And I think when it was like, I had told myself, you know, I did 150K. I've done 50K. I added all up. I basically accumulated like 200,000 followers if I was to still have these accounts, you know. And this is back in 2020, early 2021. During that time, like I said, I was still with that girl. And I was private about her because like 80% of my following was females. So I know that if I was to say I have a girlfriend, they would all just probably leave, you know? And I didn't know how to introduce her to social media, and she didn't want to do social media. So I was kind of just doing it on my own. And that was really hard for her, you know, seeing that, you know, we're in high school, all these girls like your boyfriend, and no one knows that you're dating him. And I know she would tell me, because she was still in school, there's girls talking about you right in front of me saying, oh, have you seen him? He's so cute. You know, he used to go to this school. And she would be so pissed off.
She's like, that's my man.
That's my man. Yeah, literally. She would tell me, like, this shit pisses me off so much. Why don't you say, or like, why don't you post me? And I'm like, I don't want to post you. Because at the time, too, it was during like the whole, you know, miscarriage thing. Yeah. That definitely made it very hard for her. Like, I would have to always reassure her. And she always thought I was cheating on her when I never was, you know. But I know that it made her very, like, emotional, you know. And it just caused a lot of problems in the relationship because I was constantly, like, reassuring her. And it got to a point where I was like, I don't know what else I can tell you. You got my location, you got my passwords, you know where I'm at. I'm always with you, you know. I spend all my time and money with you. If I'm not working, I'm with you, you know. And it just got so draining, you know, to the like point where I was like, you know, I'm gonna just like back off because no matter what I'm doing, I'm working, you know, I'm with my family. You're just thinking that I'm out or doing something with somebody or there's something going on, and I'm just gonna focus on my work, you know. But I still made time for her. Like, I was always with her, you know, whenever on the weekends, taking her out, you know, doing little cute things for her. And to the point where she started like saying like, I know you're cheating on me. I'm leaving
because you're doing too much.
Because I would literally be like, I'm at fucking work. I was like, I'm cooking chicken right now, you know, I'm literally working. And she'd be like, well, then there's someone at work that you're cheating on me with. And I'm like,
you're like, who's that in the back? That's my coworker.
That's my manager. Like, and she would be like, oh, this girl, this and that girl. I don't know. It was just so toxic. It got so bad, you know, and I was always getting accused of cheating and I wasn't, you know.
Do you feel like that happened because of the miscarriage, or was the relationship always kind of toxic?
It got toxic. I don't know why, but in high school, no one really like, girls weren't really attracted to me, you know, up until I got into a relationship. It was weird. All of a sudden they liked me, you know, and I think that would like bother her a lot too. And so even before, you know, the whole miscarriage thing in the pregnancy, she was still like kind of like accuse me of things. But I was getting older, so I had more freedom. You know, I wasn't in school anymore, so I would go out after working. You know, I'll get out at 11 o'clock at night, and my friends would be like, oh, let's go to the park and smoke, or let's drink at my house. And I'd be like, yeah. And it would just be me and the boys, you know, just hanging out. But I understand, you know, like, she probably thinks I'm out there. It happened so much that I started thinking, like, she's probably doing these things because she's in school still, you know. She probably has guy friends, and now to find something out, you know, she's friends with that guy. And we're kids, you know, so we're so insecure. Like, you can't have a friend. You can't be around a guy, you know? So it would just drive me insane, and she would be going insane because I'm working at a job that has a girl there, you know? And it was just so bad. It was unhealthy. We were breaking up, like, every other week. We were together, and we love each other, and then we hate each other. And I feel like the miscarriage definitely made her a lot more emotional and so easy to leave me and walk away from me. And I was always begging, you know, come back, let's make it work. And I did that for like, it felt like almost a year that I was begging, you know, like always trying to fix things to the point where I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You know,
like it's not worth it anymore.
It's not worth it. Yeah. And during that time when we were always trying to fix things, I started getting a little bit more popularity because I had blew up. I'd say like it was around springtime, I think it was, of 2021. I had blew up because of, I don't know if you remember this. It was so long ago. This thing called Adrian's Kickback.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of that had to do like because of me. You probably don't remember. A lot of people don't remember because it was so old. It was on an account that's gone now, you know? But I had seen the flyer when it was like so small, maybe like 10K viewers.
Yeah.
And I was going to go out there that weekend because my friend, he was like making music at the time. His name's Dom Corleo.
Was it the one that was at the beach?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. He was making music at the time and he had to meet with some like record label or manager. And he was like, I'm going to go out there. Let's drive together. So I had told my 3 like lifelong friends, Troy, Felix, and Sergio, hey, let's all go to Cali.
Yeah.
And at the time, one of my close friends, Troy, I have known these guys since I was like in 2nd grade. We have been like inseparable, always hanging out with each other, playing the game with each other, sleeping at each other's houses. You know, we're like always together at school. These are like my best friends, you know, like since the beginning. And I told them, hey, let's all go to California together, make this trip. And then I had seen the party thing and I'm like, oh yeah, we need to go to that, you know? So I made a TikTok about it because I had like a little, you know, I had a little following at the time, like saying I was gonna be there. And then that went like viral. I think I got like 1 million views. And that was that was like a pretty like high for me at the time, you know? And everybody associated Adrian's Kickback because they didn't know what he looked like. And they were saying I was Adrian. So I was just
so
like,
you were the face.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just
like, this is my Kickback.
Yeah, literally. So I just kept posting about it and I was like, I remember I made a TikTok saying that I was gonna drive up there and people were like, you're stupid driving all the way to California for a party. That's dumb. Stay in Phoenix. And I was like, I remember at the next video, it was like, I'm gonna get a bus. I'm gonna rent a bus and I'm gonna drive everybody from AZ to Cali.
Yeah.
What was it? I think it was in Huntington Park, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was Huntington Beach, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think when I was on the way up there, I had seen a bus in the middle of the desert driving. I posted like, look, I told y'all we got a bus. And everybody was going crazy. Like they believed it, you know? And I was just trolling, being funny. And, you know, I had made TikToks like me and my friends in the car. We're going, you know, catch us over there. And then that same night, we didn't even end up going to the actual Adrian's Kickback on the beach. Because my friend Dom was like, there's this sick party and this rapper's going to be there. It's in Calabasas. And I was like, all right, we'll go. But everywhere I was going that weekend out there, everyone would just swarm me. Like, even now, like who I am, I don't get like crowded as much, you know, like people ask me for a picture here and there, but it was like 20 people coming up to me and like grabbing me, trying to take pictures of me.
Was that like your I made it moment?
It felt like it. Yeah, it felt like it. And I remember at the time my friend who was with me, Troy, he had just got done doing like 1.5 years in jail on juvenile. And I used to write him letters and I had told him like, hey, I'm doing TikTok. I just, you know, since the beginning, I made this much followers. I'm making money now off of this. And I told him like, when you get out of jail, you know, we're going to be in Hollywood living it up. I'm going to be like, in my head, I had this idea of I'm going to be a celebrity. And it actually like, I mean, I wasn't a celebrity, but it worked out because the week, like, or like 2 weeks before he got out of jail, or 2 weeks after he got out of jail, we go to California. I bring him with me. So I go to Cali and I'm getting treated like a celebrity. So it felt like everything I manifested was like coming true, you know? We're in the hills, you know, like living like celebrities, you know? And he was like being like my bodyguard everywhere I was at. And it felt cool that I had like my day one friends with me, you know? And we didn't end up going to the what is it, Adrian's Kickback. We went to some like Hollywood
where
party.
Your followers like asking like, where the fuck are you?
Yeah, literally people were asking me like, where you at, tagging me and all kinds of things. And I had seen there was like riots there was cops there. And I was like, good thing I didn't go, you know?
It would have been more chaotic too, especially since you were like promoting it. They would have been like, he's right there.
I probably would have been doing dumb shit, you know? And good thing I didn't go. And then the next day after all that drama had happened, there was like cops at the beach and stuff. Are you familiar with Cool Kicks? Have you ever heard of them? It's like a shoe store.
Oh, yes. Like where they resell the shoes? Yeah.
They had messaged me on Instagram saying that they're going to get a venue and call it Adrian's Kickback because like nothing went planned. They want like an actual party. And they said, we're working with the actual Adrian and his friends. And we got these, I think they said like Bryce Hall was going to be there. And Bryce Hall was big like in 2021, you know? And I think they said Little Mosey, you know what that is? I don't know if you heard of him.
Is he the older bald guy?
No. You never heard that song Blueberry Faygo?
Fuck, no.
It was an old TikTok like song back then. But I think they said he was gonna be there and like some other like rappers are gonna be there. And I was like, I'm gonna be with celebrities in my head, you know? So I didn't even ask questions about payment or money or anything. I was just like, I just need to be on that stage. That's all I want, to be around these famous people, you know? And they're like, yeah, we're gonna sell tickets at our store. Can you promote for us? And I didn't even question it. I was like, I got you. So I made a TikTok. Hey, yo, everybody buy your tickets tonight. They're having a venue party, you know, and everyone goes to Cool Kicks. I pull up to Cool Kicks, and there's like everybody's like, yo, you know, trying to take pictures of me. I buy tickets myself, you know,
To the event?
Yeah, to the event, and then they have like a code or something on it. They're like saying that they're gonna send out the address like 20 minutes before a certain time. So I meet with like some of the guys who were throwing it in a parking lot, and they give me the address. I pull up to the spot, and it's like some like looks like a warehouse kind of area.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was somewhere in LA. I get there, and I'm like, nobody's here. Out of nowhere, like a bunch of cars start parking and pulling up, and I think I was like wondering like what's going on, you know, like how am I gonna get on stage? Like I just need to get in there. I don't know. I see like a big flat like flashlight just like what is it called, a spotlight?
Yeah, spotlight on
Just
you.
on us. I look up and I see like a helicopter. I look to my left. There's just like a SWAT team of riot shields, and they're like throwing like I think gases or something at us, and everybody just starts running. I remember getting in the car and we just left. And I went
Were
and had
you
like
scared
food.
at that moment? You're like, oh shit, what's going on?
Yeah, I was. I was like, am I getting in trouble for something, or like what's going on? And then I know me and my friends just went and had some food, and I think we had drink and stuff, and then I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning to like so much mentions. People were saying I scammed them, and they were saying I robbed them for $40 because the event didn't end up happening because the cops were there, you know? So everybody was saying like, I want my money back. And I'm like, I don't have your money. They have your money.
You know what's funny? I think I remember this, but I didn't know exactly it
At
was
the
you.
time,
I do
I had
remember.
like long curly blue hair. I could, if I had videos, I do guys do
Send
have
it
videos.
over and we'll put it right here. What the hell? And they'll
Yeah.
all fucking be like, scammer.
Yes. Everybody was calling me a scammer.
You're like, bitch, I bought my own ticket.
Yeah, I literally had dated videos saying like, I paid to be here too. Like, what are you talking about? And then I think they had released something out like on Cool Kicks, like on their IG, saying like, everyone who bought a ticket, come back.
Yeah.
We'll refund you money. And people were saying like, I think over like a certain amount of tickets were sold that they think I made, I think $40,000 or $80,000 in ticket sales that night. And I was like, I literally have lint in my pocket. What are you talking about? Like, I came to Cali with like $300 in my friends, you know? And everybody was just accusing me of like scamming them. And that was like my first ever scandal. So
Like,
at that
crazy
time,
moment.
everybody just know me for that and hated me, you know?
This episode of Noche de Pendejadas is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Every time I use Booking.com to find a place to stay in the US, I know they'll have exactly what I'm looking for. They have a huge variety of options from hotels to vacation rentals, and I know I can find exactly what I'm looking for. I found Booking.com to have something for everyone. I just got back from my trip from New York City, and let me just say the hotel that I picked out through Booking.com was amazing. Todo lo que yo esperaba del hotel, amigas, el hotel lo tenía, and I'm actually so excited because a couple days ago, I booked my hotel for my next trip. Sí, amigas, ustedes saben que a mí me gusta viajar, and Booking.com makes it so easy for me to find the perfect hotel. Vamos a ir a Las Vegas en abril, and I wanted to make sure that the hotel we booked was right on the strip. También quería un hotel que estuviera bonito, had a little bathtub, and one of the main things we were looking for was space. And with Booking.com, I was able to find the perfect hotel for our Vegas trip. I'm so excited that we were able to find the perfect hotel on Booking.com, y no puedo esperar to show you guys which one we ended up going with. No matter who you are, Booking.com helps you find the stay that's ridiculously right for you. Find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Representation in media matters. One of the most essential daily podcasts comes from NPR. It's Up First, co-hosted by A. Martinez alongside others. NPR's Up First provides the top 3 news stories to start your day. With digestible 10 to 15-minute episodes, it's all the news you need so you can get back to your life feeling informed while preserving your sanity. From the Trump administration to business and the economy to immigration policies, Up First is the go-to daily habit for the news consumer who wants to stay informed but is forever strapped for time. Up First short format makes it easy to catch up on what's happening while you're getting ready, making breakfast, or going to work. Up First achieves the rare 1-2 punches of being short and thorough, national and international, fact-based and personable. With Up First, you can start your day a little more in the know than when you went to sleep. Listen now to the Up First podcast from NPR.
During the time you started doing social media, you know, you and your girl at the time had a miscarriage. I want to know a little bit about how you felt in the guy perspective. What was the whole thing like for you?
Well, it definitely felt like everything I had been working for was like for nothing, you know. I felt like, you know, we knew we weren't ready. We were so young, you know, and it felt like, okay, well, now she can plan on going to college and stuff. So I know that for her, it was hard on her body for sure. But I know we weren't ready for it, you know. We were so young. And I think it kind of just made us, like, realize we're so young. Why are we so, like, where we treat it like we're married. And we're like 16, 15. I think she was younger than me by a year. So she was 15 and I was 16. And we're like acting like a married couple. I think we realized how young we were from that because we were not ready to be adults. I was growing up and she was still in high school, and I was kind of like starting to see like, I don't think this is healthy for either of us. And she wasn't mature enough to realize like fighting constantly and the constant reassuring is not healthy. Like we're not going to get nowhere, you know, in this relationship. And I know it was definitely harder on her than it was for me because it just made her very like insecure. You know, she thought I was going to leave her. And I kept telling her, I'm not going nowhere. You know, I'm working still. I'm still doing what I've been doing. I'm not going nowhere. You know, don't trip. I'm going to be here always. But it made her so like scared, and she was constantly thinking that I was going to leave her, that she was like, I'm going to leave him first. You know, I'm going to break his heart.
So she left you?
Yeah, she would leave me. Like I said, like every week she would leave me. And I would, you know, show up to her doors with flowers or I'll be blocked, texting her on another number.
Through email.
I would send like $5 through Cash App with a note because she couldn't block me on Cash App, saying like, let's work this out. You know, I'm gonna come to your house.
I love you.
I love you. Yeah, I'm nothing without you. And it was to the point where I was like, I remember being like suicidal over this girl. It was so bad because, like I said, it was like my whole world was revolved around her at the time. And I didn't really know like what love was because I was so young.
Was that like your first love?
Yeah, I'd say that was my first love. It was a learning experience for sure because I don't think that we actually loved each other. I think we just got attached to each other.
Yeah.
And I was going through all that traumatic stuff with my dad at the time. So I got attached to her. So she was like my friend I would vent to. Yeah. And I got very close to her. We kind of like trauma bond because she was going through stuff too. And then we got so like close, it was unhealthy for each other, you know?
I feel like that happens a lot, especially, you know, in teens. A lot of the time you get so tied up to like, oh, this is going to be my forever. But sometimes it isn't like that. You know, sometimes we're too small, we're too young to understand that like, you know, we're children. And like you said, you guys were already treating it like a marriage. And it was like, no, tenemos 16 años, 15 años, como de que nos vamos a casar. Quiero platicar, you know, about your social media. You know, obviamente you've been doing social media. Do you feel like social media in any way has affected your mental health?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's made me so like self-conscious about everything. I think about everything I'm doing. Like, I feel like anytime I remember when I was single, I can't talk to this girl because I'm scared she's going to post me, or I can't be single comfortably without people thinking, you know, if I follow this girl, they're talking, yeah. Or if this girl, I would tell people like, don't post me, please don't post me. I don't want people attacking you or thinking weird things because then I got to go along with it or shut it down, you know, and I just rather not do it. So it just made me feel like I wasn't as big, you know. I was still very small, like only 100K, 150K, but I was known like around my city, like Phoenix, Arizona, you know, people would recognize me because I was going out to parties and stuff. So it made me like very cautious, like, you know, I can't drink too much. Or I got to be like more responsible because people might be recording me or post me, and I don't want to look, you know, bad on the internet at all. And it just made me super like, I just had to be careful about
like
who
anxious
I trust.
about your surroundings too, like
who
making
I was friends
sure.
with, because you just never know. You could be close with someone and they could say, "Oh yeah, I know everything about them," and I'll go tell you your whole life story on the internet. So it did make me very self-conscious and just, I mean, it's a good thing. It made me like chill out a little bit, you know, be careful who you surround yourself with. But it also made me super insecure because if your views aren't what they used to be, you feel like there's something wrong with you, and you get like, am I not funny? Am I not good looking?
Am I a flop?
Yeah,
You're
literally,
like, in my flop era? Tell us a little bit about what it's like. You know, I was mentioning to you, I see you a lot on the clips. Mm-hmm. You know, I see the comments sometimes and I'm like, oh shit, they're going in. How do you react, and how do you, you know, take the negative criticism online, or when people are talking shit, does that affect you, or do you just kind of ignore it? How do you deal with that now?
I'll just post and I just won't look at my phone. I just refuse to look at comments and anything. And my For You page is not influencers. I just see straight like memes, cats, dogs. So I'm so lucky to have that. But I know that other people see me, like my mom will send you like, why are people saying this about you? That's not true. Or my friends would be like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, honestly, I never seen that before. But back then I would be always in my mentions trying to see everything. And I learned to just stop looking at it. Just post, and people are always going to have this idea of you. Like, they have their mind made up, and I know that they don't know who I am. Yeah. They don't know my intentions or the story behind me, you know? So I just kind of like, people are just going to think whatever at the end of the day, you know? As long as I know I'm not hurting anybody or like doing something that's really bad, I just think it's all entertainment at the end of the day.
I know you do a lot of content with like the same amount of boys, Zavala, Aaron. How did you guys all meet?
Edwin, he's going to hate me for this, but I've been doing TikTok since 2021, and I've been on different accounts, and he's like followed me since then.
Okay.
And he used to be actual like viewer, like 20 followers, private account. And every day when I would go, because I would go live way back in 2021, 2022, and he would come in like every day to make it a thing to send me a little 1-cent gift. And I'd be like, Edwin, thank you for the ice cream. Thank you for your pennies. Just messing with him, you know? And I got to the point where I started like texting him, like, how you doing, bro? You know, he would swipe up on my stories. I followed him, and I remember he used to pay me to do IG story promos, like $20.
Yeah.
And I'd post him like, I got you, bro. And I'd be like, everyone follow this guy. I would text him like, bro, you should do social media one day, you know? And he'd be like, yeah, maybe, you know? And I'd be like, you're funny, like through text, you know? Like maybe you're funny on camera, you know? You should do it. And I got like kind of close to him in, I'd say 2022. We would text a lot like during the summertime. Then I kind of stopped talking to him. And it wasn't until 2024. I don't know, I think he started doing TikTok in 2023. He would do like videos of him doing like money spreads and stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, that's Edwin, you know? Like good for him. And I would see him get like 50K, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy, you know? But he didn't really get past like 50K. I think he would get banned all the time, and he would go live and get banned. So I don't really think too much of it, but I was still happy for him. And it wasn't until 2024, I think, like springtime, I started seeing him live with like D-Kane and Lalo and all these people. And I'm like, okay, he's getting up there, you know, he's doing good. And I already had my live like pop-in summer phase. In 2023 summer, I blew up to like from 100K to 1 million in like a month off of TikTok lives. Yeah. So I had like my little viral phase already. So I was seeing him come up. I'm like, oh, good for him, you know? And I was kind of known a little bit. And I would like text him, you know, like, hey, let's go live. Let's do something, you know? And then we had went live a couple times, but it was kind of awkward. Like we didn't really know what to talk about or do with each other. And
because you guys didn't know each other in person.
Yeah, we didn't know each other in person. He lived in a whole other state. But we know about it. You know, we've been knowing about each other. We've been like tapped in with each other. And then I had seen A-Rad a couple times on my For You page, and he had like 10K followers. And I like at the time I already had like 1 million, you know?
Yeah.
So A-Rad, I would join A-Rad's live, and I would send him like galaxies, because I would see him like doing his thing, and he would kind of do what we would do, like the thirst traps, the lives, you know? And I'm like, oh yeah, well maybe one day he'll be famous. I was investing in him, like pretty much. Like
you believed in him.
I did,
yeah. You saw something in him.
I saw something in him for sure. Like this kid's gonna be famous one day. I know he is, with like his mentality and his energy, you know? And I would like type in his lives, like keep going, bro. And he'd be like, what's some advice you would give to me, Gabe? Like I would tell him like, just go live every day. Go live every day in the summertime. I feel like in the summertime, lives are definitely really big. So I told him like, when this summer comes around, 2024, go live every single day, post every day, be consistent. Like 2 months later, I'd say this was in April when I started talking to A-Rad. I think it was 2 months later, I started seeing him go up to like 100K, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna get famous. Then he went from like 100K to like 1 million in a month.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I was like, I knew it. But back in April, when I had first talked to him and he had like 10K, I told him, hey, you should come to Arizona and we'll get an Airbnb. We could do content together. And I told Edwin the same thing, you know? And they had met each other through live, and they had their own little friendship. And they were growing like at the same rate, like 50K, 100K, you know? So I told him, come to AZ in the summertime and we'll do content together. And then I met Zavala, I think it was July. I met Zavala for my friend Alan. He had a birthday out there in Cali. And I had seen Zavala on my For You page for his lives. He used to go out live in public and just be crazy, like screaming in stores and messing with people. And I told him, like, bro, you're funny, bro. Like, we need to do content together one day. I don't know what I'm going to do with you, but we can do something one day. And I think he had like 200K at the time. So like at the time, I was like the bigger than all of them, you know? And I had like some recognition, you know, a little bit of people knew about me from lives. And I was like, I put them all in a group chat together. I was like, let's get an Airbnb in a couple months and we'll make content together. It wasn't until I think August, we all got an Airbnb together, and they all have like at the time, like 700, 800K. So they're catching up to me. Yeah. And I'm like, this is perfect. I don't know where my account just gets banned with 1 million, like a 1.1 million followers.
Oh shit. Like deleted back?
Like gone, yeah. And I was like,
I'm done.
I'm nobody now.
You're like, fuck, yeah.
And I was like, they're gonna flake on me. They're not gonna come. And I had like a backup account that I forgot about with like 100K followers. And I was thinking like, what do I do? What's next? And I was like, well, maybe this trip I'll figure something out, you know? And we had planned content out and did all that stuff. Literally within like 2 weeks, I was back at 1 million.
Like from the backup account?
I'd say like probably 3 weeks. It took like a month for me to get back to 1 million on the backup accounts.
I feel like with social media, it's so easy, especially with the clips now. You know, it's so easy for rumors to be created. I feel like people see something and they're like, bitch, I know everything about this person. And I feel like you've been caught in the middle of a lot of that. You know, tell us a little bit more about that. Has there ever been any rumor that you've been like, girl, that's far from the truth, like nada que ver? You know, I saw a lot of rumors with Wendy a couple months ago. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I think it was I had reached out to her around the time her and Julito had broken up, but I had reached out to her a year before that. Like back in 2023, I reached out to her to collab. I think she only had like 100K at the time too. Yeah. It was when it was just her and Evelyn like doing content together. Okay. So it was before Julito even came in the picture. I told her, hey, let's do a mukbang live together. She left me on scene. But we did follow each other, back in 2023. And at the time, like I said, like I had like 1 million followers. So I was thinking, you know, I have followers. I can get these creators together. They would be, you know, down to do stuff together and it would be entertaining. But she just left me on scene. And then I think like a month later, I seen her with Julito. And I was like, okay, let me back off. We knew of each other, but we didn't talk to each other. And when I had seen all that drama going on, I had hit her up about it. And I know that she had planned to do something with Zavala like a couple weeks before. And I think her and Julito were still together talking. So I know that she known of us, you know, she would come into our lives and she would gift us. I would come in her live, drop a gift, and her and Benji would come in my lives and gift us. So I'm like, okay, we're cool, we're friends, you know, maybe we can do some content together one day. And then we texted more about it, and then we did, you know, we finally decided to meet up and do content all together, like me and the boys and her. Me, I'm like super shy in person, you know, especially when I first meet somebody, I'm like quiet. But if you really know me, like I'm super like silly.
Like outgoing.
Outgoing, you know. But anytime, especially if it's a girl though, like I'm kind of more like, what's up? You know, like trying to not be myself in front of them, just be shy and quiet to myself. And that's how I am with everybody, you know, especially with women though. Yeah. So I think a lot of people would see me being kind of like shy and just quiet around her, and they automatically assume like I have feelings for her. Yeah. Which I get, I understand from a viewer's point of view now, you know, when I see the clips, I'm like, I don't remember doing that. I don't. Yeah.
You're like, damn, that's how I look.
That's how I look, or I was looking that long, or I smiled at that, you know? But I always make sure to just be respectful. If someone's talking to me, I always be like, what is it? Attentive?
Attentive,
Like I shake my head, I'll smile, laugh, you know? So people would take that as like, he likes her. He's making eye contact in a conversation. He wants to be with her. It would be like stupid things like that. And we would laugh about it. Like me, Wendy, and the boys.
Like you guys would talk about it in private?
Did you see that clip? And they'd be like, that's so dumb. Like, I'm literally just having a normal conversation with you. But people think that
it was something more.
Yeah. Like it became like an inside joke between us. Like I would look that way and they'd be like, the boys would be like, did you see the way Gabe looked? We would just laugh about it. But you know, during that time, I was like in a on and off relationship that used to be public on the internet. So people would always bring up, isn't he with her still, or is he with her? You know, and I'd say since 2020, like end of 2023, we went private because she decided to go to like college and work, and she didn't want nobody recognizing her at her job or at school, or you know, messing up any opportunity she had. And I completely understood that. So I'm like, I'm not gonna. We had like set boundaries. I'm not gonna talk about you. I'm not gonna show you, like post you. You know, I'm just gonna keep you private. I'll say, you know, we're together, but other than that, I'm gonna keep it private. Yeah. I'm not gonna talk about anything personal between us, just out of respect for her. You know, so I've kept it like that since I'd say like 2023, like end of 2023, and ever since then, people thought, you know, that we broke up. But I don't want to go on the internet and say, hey, we broke up, and then everyone goes to look for her account, you know, and starts following her.
Or whatever.
To start being nosy and just. It would basically do the whole complete opposite effect of what she wants. So I was like, we had a plan. Like maybe if we just don't talk about each other and just act like we don't exist to each other on the internet.
Like people forget,
Yeah, people will forget, and people just never forgot, you know.
When that was going on with Wendy, were you guys already broken up, or you guys were still talking, you and your ex?
We would break up, but we would get back together.
Was that something that would get brought up? Like, oh, I saw the clips too. Like, what's that about?
Yeah, so I know during that time, people were hoping that me and Wendy had something going on. People would just be so nosy, and like it would affect, you know, like I feel like I can't be out in public sometimes or I can't be seen on camera with Wendy because I feel like I just can't have a friendship with Wendy because people think that there's something going on and there's not, you know, or they want something to happen. And if I feel like if I don't meet their
expectations.
they're gonna hate me, But I never entertained it or anything. But people would just assume all the time that there was something secretly going on. And I would see the clips and I'm like, okay, I get that, So then I would address it and say like, hey, can you stop? Or I told Wendy, hey, can you tell them to stop? And it would just cause drama.
Yeah.
People would get mad at me like, oh, you're not stopping it. You never said, And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't even know what to do right now. I feel like I'm in a weird spot right now.
I think with social media, it happens a lot. Like, you will never fucking win, especially with the audiences.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell them the truth, and sometimes their lie is so much more better and more juicier than the fucking truth. Like, sometimes I be seeing shit about me, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where did you guys get that from? But you know what? Go ahead, run with that shit, because it's better than the reality, Cuéntanos un poquito más about that public relationship. Obviamente, you guys go private in 2020. She goes to school. Are you guys dating right now, or are you completely single with that specific relationship?
So we have been, separated for a couple months now, but we still we're friends. We keep in contact with each other, but I'm really trying to work it out with her right now, because I'm always gonna love her. I'm always gonna have love for her, and I'm not gonna just give up on her. We're kind of like at different points in our life right now, but I just know that I want to be with her. I just think I need to make it work. I need to do what I can, and if being public with her would help, then I'll be public with her.
Quiero platicar de otro tema un poquito más sensible. Nos estabas contando that you had your best friend, Troy, who was your childhood best friend. And sadly, when you turned 18 a couple years ago, he passed away. Tell us a little bit more about what he meant to you as a friend, how you guys met, and how did you find out, and how did he pass away?
So I met him, I think it was in 3rd grade. I had met him at recess, and we would just, I don't remember, we were playing tag or something. I think that's how we became friends. And we just became friends ever since. I noticed I had some classes with him, and then he was also friends with my already friend I had been with for I had been friends with him for a year or two already. And he became friends with him. So we all just got close together, and it was ever since then, we were always best friends, always eating lunch together, playing at recess together. We'd get out of school, hop on the game together. I'd go to walk to his house. He'd come to my house. We'd sleep over. His parents knew my parents, So
it was your best friend, the best friend.
The friend, the main friend, And we had a little group of 4. It was me, Troy, Sergio, Felix. That was my close friends. And I had some other friends that I was pretty close to too, but those are the friends that I would have sleepovers with and, play the games with after school.
The ones that knew your deep shit.
Yeah. And it was like that all the way up into freshman year, I think it was, where we both were getting in trouble and doing bad stuff, but him more than others. He would completely just not come to school, and he was ditching all the time and hanging around people who I thought were scary, this guy's doing that.
Yeah.
I don't want to kind of hang out with you because this guy seems kind of dangerous. And he would get kicked out all the time from his dad's house or run away and stuff. And I would get calls hey, where is he at, from his family or, friends. Hey, have you heard where he's at? And I would be I don't know where he's at. I would cover up for him sometimes. I knew where he was at. And he just got into a lot of trouble, and he started getting into legal trouble with the cops. The cops would come to his house, arrest him. And I think it was ever since freshman year, he started getting in and out of jail for short periods of time. And I think
juvenile.
Yeah, he would get he got transferred to another school, and he moved in with my friend Sergio. His mom adopted him. So he lived with my friend Sergio, I think his sophomore and junior year. And them together were double the trouble, getting in trouble together, doing pretty bad stuff. And I didn't see them because Sergio had went to a different high school. It's kind of far. So I would see them on the weekends. We would still play the game together and catch up, but I wasn't seeing them as often. And then I remember I think I did a year and a half. I think he locked up my sophomore year, I think, or something like that. And he ended up getting out basically my senior year.
When you had texted him about going to LA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would write him, I would write him letters when he was in juvenile, and he was doing crazy stuff. We were getting involved with guns and stuff, stuff that we did not need to be involved in. And I remember when he got out of jail, I told him, let's go to California. I'm kind of famous a little bit at that time. I'm getting a little buzz from the Adrian thing, and I'm telling him we're gonna be over there. It's gonna be crazy. We go over there, and it's just like I said it was, and it literally felt I was everything I wanted was coming true. And I'm I'm going to bring them with me everywhere I go. So I think a week after that Adrian Kickback thing had happened, I was back in Arizona, and I'm telling them this party group in Texas wants me to go promote for them, and they're going to fly me out, pay for my hotel. Let's all go, all 4 of us. And only one of them agrees to go, my friend Felix, and he's He's like, okay, I'm gonna get my flight. And I was like, they said they got the hotel for us, so we're good, you know? And I told Troy and Sergio to come with me, but Sergio couldn't go for whatever reason. And Troy was like, pay for my flight and I'll go. And I'm like, nah, I'm not paying for your flight, you know? And I had money at the time, like I had like a couple thousand saved up. I could have easily bought his ticket, but I was just being like, nah, you got your own money, because I know he had money too. And I was like, you can do it yourself. I'm not going to pay for your ticket. You're an adult. Because we were 18 at the time, you know? And that was probably like one of the biggest decisions that I regret in my life. That night that I had I left in the morning. He had dropped me off at the airport. And I remember we were like drinking, and I was drinking because that was my first time, I think, going on a flight, and I was like nervous.
Yeah.
So he was like, just take a shot and stuff. He dropped me off early, like 6 in the morning. I land like around 9 a.m. or something. I get picked up by these people in the party group. They take me to my hotel, and me and my friend Felix are there just bored, don't even really know what to do because we don't know anybody out there, and we're just waiting for the next day because that's when the party is. And that night, we were like at a hotel, and there was these people in the party group there in the room with us, like drinking. I get a call from my friend Sergio, and he tells me that one of our like mutuals, like our close friends we grew up with as well, had passed away in a car accident. And he was like, and she was pregnant too. And I was like, oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say, because my friend Sergio was a lot closer to her than I was. I was just like, I don't even know what to say. You know, I was in shock because I grew up with her, I think, since 5th grade I've known her. So I was just like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm sorry to hear that. And I was a little like, you know, I was already like kind of faded, you know, drinking. And I told my friend Felix next to me, and he actually like said he had used to talk to her like throughout high school and stuff. And we were just both there like, what the fuck, you know? This is so weird because someone our age is passing away. It's kind of weird to us. And literally 30 minutes later, I'm waiting for him to call me because he said, I'm on my way to the hospital. They said that she's in a vegetable state and she might not make it. And he's like, I'm going to go to the hospital right now. I'm going to let you know. And I was like, all right, just call me if you need anything. I'm here for you, bro. And it's like 1 in the morning, I think, over there in Texas. So it must have been like 11 in Arizona. He calls me in 30 minutes after we had just spoke. And I'm thinking he's going to say like, hey, good news on her, bad news, you know? And he's like, Troy just got shot. And I'm like, what the fuck? There's no way this is real. Because I'm a little drunk at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I mean, Troy's like one of my best friends, you know? And Troy's also his best friend. And Mercedes is also his best friend. I was like, this has to be a fucking prank.
Yeah.
The two closest people to you just, you know, had a near-death experience or about to die or whatever. I'm thinking this is real. Like, it's not real. This is a prank. And I'm like, bro, stop fucking with me. Like, this is fucked up, actually. Because I'm over here, like, all stressing about you, like, worrying if you're going to be okay mentally. That's your close friend. How could that happen, you know? And I'm thinking, like, what if he tries hurting himself, you know? Because I know how close and how much he meant to him, you know? And then he tells me, you know, Troy, too. And I'm like, this, you know, another close person to you just got shot. That's not real, you know? Like,
all within the same night.
Like 30 minutes apart, And I'm thinking, like, this has to be a prank. And I'm a little drunk at the time, you know? So I'm trying to sober up already after hearing him tell me about Mercedes passing. And then he tells me the Troy thing. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, that's not real. Until I'm like, okay, well, where was it at then? What did it happen? And he tells me, well, this person dropped him off. And he got a call from this person saying that he was just with them and this happened. So I'm like, okay, well, give me this person's number. I call. I'm like, yo, what the fuck happened? I don't even know who this guy is that I'm talking to. And he's like, I dropped him off, and he said he was going to hang out with this guy. And I guess that guy just called him saying, hey, we just got shot at, and Troy got shot. And I'm like, okay, so give me that guy's number. I call that guy, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, you're with him? And he's like, I left him. And I'm like, what do you mean you left him? He's like, well, the cops are coming, and I had to, I had to go. And I'm like, this is not, something's not adding up. So then it comes, you know, I believe it's real now, you know? And then I don't know what to do, and I'm stressing, like panicking, like I'm trying to remember his dad's number, and I'm like, I don't have it. So I call my dad, like it's like 1 or 2 in the morning. I call him, and I'm like, hey, can you do me a big favor? And I'm like crying on the phone. I'm like, can you go to Troy's house and tell his dad that Troy just got shot? And my dad's like, what? And I'm like, Troy just got shot. I just got this, you know, I got the news. Go to his house right now. And we live like 3 minutes away from each other. So I told my dad, drive over there. My dad hands the phone to Troy's dad, and I have to break the news to his dad, like, your son got shot. I don't know where he's at. He was with this guy, and they said it's on this street. You need to get there, like, ASAP. And I remember Troy's dad saying, like, well, what do I do? What do I do? And my dad's telling him, like, you need to get over there. So I know Troy's dad got over there, and he texted me, and he said, like, the ambulance is here already. I think they took him already. and the cops were there just like collecting evidence and stuff. And I was calling all the hospitals trying to figure out where he was at, see if I can get an update. But I think usually when any gun violence happens or something like that happens, they don't disclose.
Yeah. Until like the investigation goes through. Yeah.
I couldn't get nothing from nobody. I trying to figure out where he was at, and I'm just like losing my mind, like trying to sober up. Like, there's no way this is actually happening right now. And then I'm calling Sergio, like, are you okay? And he told me they're telling us if we want to pull the plug on Mercedes or not. I was just like, what the fuck is going on right now? Life is not real. And then he calls me a couple minutes later, and like they decided to pull the plug on her. And I'm just like, damn. And then I'm like, okay, I think Troy's gonna be all right, you know. And Troy has been through a lot. He would always be fighting people. I know that he had told me he had overdosed one time, and he came back to life. So I'm thinking like he's a strong
fighter,
person.
yeah.
He come back to life. He's gonna be okay. But I didn't know where he got shot at, how many times he got hit or anything. But I just knew that they said he was going on to the hospital. So I'm like, I'm gonna sleep this off. I'm gonna wake up and everything's gonna be good. And I remember having a dream that I seen him. Like, I was walking on this street that I've never walked on in my life, and I seen him like on the floor in a ball, like with his knees up. And I go up to him and I'm like crying. I'm like, what are you doing? Everyone's worried about you. Are you okay? Like, what happened? And he's like smiling, laughing at me. And he used to always do this thing where he'd grab my shoulders and shake me like that.
Yeah. And
he was like telling me like, it's okay, I'm fine, you know? And I'm like, you're not, like, you got shot. Like, everyone's saying you didn't make it or you're not gonna make it. And he's just telling me like, it's okay, it's gonna be okay. And he's smiling, and I'm like, why are you smiling right now? This is so serious. And then I wake up, and I look at my phone, and they say he didn't make it. And I was like, damn.
Who texted you first, the dad?
Sergio had texted me. He told me he didn't make it. So I wake up to, hearing, he didn't make it, and Mercedes also passed away too. And that, like, just ruined everything for me. That was probably one of the hardest things I ever went through.
How did his passing affect you emotionally? Do you feel like it really did affect you from that moment on? Yeah, it definitely did.
It made me had like a lot of anger at the world. I don't know why. I was just angry. Like, I had like a good head on my shoulders, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to stay out of trouble during the time, but that made me want to like live more reckless because I'm thinking life's so short. Who cares? Nothing matters. I was like all depressed. Like, nothing I do will matter. There's no point of living. That's how I was thinking, you know? So I was out like partying, drinking, doing drugs, just trying to like fill that little void that I had. And, I was so sad, and I just wasn't thinking about my future. I was living really reckless. And I started making more friends who were in, kind of going through the same thing I was going through and living the same way I was. And I started seeing those friends pass away too. I mean, I would know them for only a couple months, but seeing someone you just would hang out with every weekend passing too, and then, Troy and Mercedes passing, it was just weird. It just felt like I couldn't escape it. Like, everyone around me just kept passing away. Like, every other week, I knew was passing.
Do you think it came with the lifestyle that at the time you were living?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was around a lot of like just trouble, and I got like desensitized to it. I started becoming like, oh yeah, this is how it goes.
It is what it is, yeah.
My time will come soon. And I started like thinking like, it's only a matter of time for me. I would have nightmares that I was gonna die or like get robbed one day or set up or shot at a party. And I was just thinking like, it's gonna happen because it's happening to everyone around me. My time will come soon, and that's my time. That's it. So I just wasn't thinking about my future at all. I was just thinking about where am I going to be at this weekend. Doing all that, I remember I had like, during that time I had met this other influencer. I would still go live and like go like post TikToks and stuff, but I met this other influencer named Gabe, not Babe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He passed away too, right? Sadly.
Away too. Yeah. So I became friends with him like 2 weeks before he had passed, and we had made plans because I was going to be out in Texas to do another event out there, a party event. And I told him, hey, they want you on it too. Let's do it together. We started going live with each other. We would like, I remember I would duet his TikToks, he would duet mine, and we would just mess around and stuff. And we would like text and talk on the phone, like, you're gonna come to AZ, we're gonna do this. And I remember he was supposed to come out for an event that my friend Armando was having. Wait, have you had Grace on here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so
she was actually the second episode of this season.
Really?
Yeah. You know what's so crazy? I will say this. Grace, dancer Grace, right?
Yeah.
I will always say Grace holds a very special place in my heart because the day I filmed with her, I got the news that my grandpa passed away, and I was gonna lag on her. I, wasn't gonna go through with filming, but I don't know why. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna show up. I had been crying all day. I showed up with my eyes all puffed up, glammed up, sat in the chair, and I will always say grace made that day go so smooth because. And you know what's so crazy with hers? If you watch her episode, it's very bubbly, it's very funny. Like, I think I needed that at that moment to get through that day. So yes, I love Grace.
Yeah, so I think at the time they had been public already, Grace and Armando. And I actually grew up and went to school with Armando.
Okay.
Like, we used to eat at the same table. We went to the same high school, like we were friends. And he was doing social media, I was doing social media, but he was already like pretty up there, and he was really known in Arizona. And I know that he was having a baile event for Grace's birthday. And Gabe told me, I'm gonna be out there in Arizona for her event, and the next week you're gonna be in Texas, and we're gonna have your event. So like we're gonna see each other both weekends in a row. We could do content. I was like, all right, sounds good. Like a couple days before her event, he ended up passing away, and I literally had texted him the same day he had passed away. And I remember the girl I was with at the time, she had told me, hey, I think your friend passed, and I didn't believe it. And I texted him like, yo, you good? And I never got a reply. And I was like, it's just rumors. They probably fake. And it ended up they confirming, I think his sister or someone in his family had posted that it was real. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, why does this keep happening to me? Like, I feel like everybody I try to get close to, they start passing away, or, like, I feel like I just couldn't escape it. And not even put in my head even more, like, you're next. You're going to die next, So, like, I kept having this fear of death. Like, I remember I would drink with my friends, and I would just end the night by crying, saying, I'm going to die. And I remember I would still go out and, like, drink on the weekends, go to parties, involving myself in more danger, being at these parties I would get shot up at. And I remember I would just get so drunk, I would be crying, thinking like, I'm next. And I would tell my friends, like, I love you. I don't want you to be, like, I don't want you here. I don't want you to be around this person. Like, you're putting yourself in danger. And it made me cherish my friends and also my family. But it was also hard for me to be home during those times, because when I was home, I would think about, when Troy would sleep over, I would think about we play the game and stuff. So I was just always trying to not be at my house and be in my neighborhood, being around where he lived, because it would like trigger me.
Yeah.
So I was always trying to just stay away from my house and just not be home. So I'd be out late like every single day. And I think I had stopped working around that time because it just came like too much for me. But I had like some money saved up, and I started making a little bit of money off of social media. Nothing crazy, but enough to like get what I needed. And then I think during that time, me and my ex were still having a lot of fights and arguments. And I came to a realization, like, I'm going through so much. I don't think I should be in a relationship right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going through this right now. And I was like, I'm just going to live my life and just, I don't need this no more. I just feel like it's dead weight because you're just always stressing me out, fighting with me. So we had separated. I finally put my foot down and decided to leave her. I have dreams of him still to this day, where I'm usually during, like, when I'm really sad or depressed or, like, just overwhelmed, I'll randomly pop up in my dream. And I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
But he's always just like in my dreams, just happy, like chill out. Like he'll tell me like, stop being a bitch. Like, get over it. You're fine. And I'll be like, all right, you're good. You're right. But it's not so much that I don't think about it like in a negative way anymore. I'm able to talk about it without getting sad.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. And I believe that he did pass on and went to heaven, So, and after experiencing all that death, I definitely do believe that there is an afterlife. But during that time, I was thinking like, nothing matters, nothing, there's no God, there's no nothing, like you just die and that's it. But I think all that happening around me showed me that God is real and he's with you, protecting you, and that there is an afterlife.
What is something that you would have wished to hear, or was something that you feel like they should know when going through something this hard?
Definitely to keep yourself busy, stay out, hang out with friends, maybe work a lot. Don't spend time in your room alone. Hang out with people and try to meet new friends, who can distract you from just thinking negatively and having a bad mindset. Because you could just dig yourself in a deeper hole by just staying home and being depressed,
I want to talk about your relationship with God. Nos cuentas that, during that time you were very disconnected from God and the religion. Were you religious growing up, or was it something that was never a thing?
Never, no. My parents never really talked about religion or enforced it on us. But my dad said he's always told me, my mom has always told me, like, whatever you believe in, I support you in, and I'll love you no matter what, So from 18 to 20, I had this, like, hatred towards religion and, like, God. I thought I hated God for, if there was a God, why is he doing this to me? Like, all this death around me, why are you doing this to me? Like, what is the point of this? these are good people to me. These are close friends. They mean so much to me. Why are you taking them out of my life? And I just seen it like I was being punished for something that I didn't even know. Like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? You know? And I wouldn't know what to do. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't understand death really. And, you know, going through like all the emotions, it's like I would start slowly getting over someone else passing, and then boom, another person's passed, and I'm like back to square one. And then it just kept happening. And so it felt like I got like a little break for a couple months, and I didn't have no friends passing away. And then in, what was it, New Year's 2023 going to 2024, I had a friend, Xavier, who had passed away, and I wasn't that close to him for like the last like year or two, but I was close to him at that point where I was going through my party phase. Yeah. And when Troy had passed, I was out partying, and I would party like with him and be around him. And he was someone I was associated with, so that kind of was like, damn, because I had started seeing him change his life around and stop being in like all the trouble, you know, because I known him like as a hothead, like a guy who was fighting and being crazy, even out there. And I started noticing him maturing. He got in a relationship. He was working a job. He had a car, you know, like he started to clean himself up, you know, and I was proud of him. And then I seen that he got shot, and I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, why does this keep happening, you know? And I got a little sad about it for like a couple months, and I kind of got over it. And I started like, okay, I need to start being active again on social media. I need to stop being, you know, so quiet on social media, because when you go inactive for like a month, people will forget about you, you know? And I need to get my bills paid. I need to be, you know, doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a social media like influencer, you know, and posting content and doing stuff. And I know I let a lot of my followers down with my inactivity and just not being consistent. So I was like, I'm going to start doing it again. Started doing it again. And then in April, two of my friends passed away again. Chris and Johnny had passed away, and I was really good friends with them I met them during my party phase as well. But they were really good guys. They were never in trouble. They've always worked their jobs, always been to themselves. But I was with them like every other weekend in 2021. 2022, I was taking vacations with them, and like we would talk about moving in with each other. And I was supposed to move in with them at one point, but they ended up getting a different house. And they were like my best friends though. Yeah. And they were also friends with Mercedes as well. I didn't know that they were friends with her, but they knew her as well. So we kind of like could relate on that, her passing. And they also were friends with Xavier as well. So we could relate on that too. So I remember even telling them about it, like how I was sad about it. And, you know, we'd hang out, we'd drink and stuff. And they would tell us like, you know, come out with us more, you know, let's go to the casino, because I had just turned 21 in April. And all of our birthdays were in April. We all turned 21 in April. So I was like, all right, I'll go to the casino. But during that time, I was still a little depressed, like going through it. And I started realizing I think I need to get a relationship with God, because I don't know who to turn to, who to run to or talk to, and like who can relate to me and listen to me, you know, vent with all these problems, and nothing is helping. No drugs, like nothing is helping me at all. No alcohol, nothing, no activities make me happy anymore. And I'm just like, I was feeling really alone. So I started thinking like I need to ask for forgiveness for everything I've done and the way I've been living my life, and try to clean my act up, you know? And I started telling Chris and Johnny about it. Like, I think I'm going to start going to church, and I need to like fix myself. And they were just looking at me like, what the fuck? You know, like,
you're like, who have you been talking
literally,
to?
And I'm telling them like, I want to go to college. Like, I want to do all these things. And they're like, is this the same person? You know? And they're like, well, that's good, man. I'm happy for you. And the crazy part is they actually worked at a funeral home. So their family owns a funeral home, and they would do like services, take the bodies, pick them up and stuff. So that's what they did for a living. And they were very comfortable with the fact that like they were very comfortable with death, because they've done services for their own family and friends, you know? So it was nothing new to them, you know? They're very comfortable with it, but I wasn't comfortable with it. So I remember there'd be times where we would have conversations with them, and they would say like, hey, if you were to ever pass, we can do your service like for a cheap price. And they would say like, oh, I want to get cremated, or I want this. And I'm like, let's not talk about that. And I would like get like almost a panic attack of them saying, hey, when you die,
you're like, I'm not dying.
We could get a casket and stuff for you and do this. And I'm like, no, I'm not dying, you know? But it's so weird, like, that it was them, and it happened to be a car accident they had got in on the way to go pick up a body out, and they're driving from Arizona, I think, to Salt Lake City, and they had hit the back of like a truck. I think it had like propane or something in it, and it exploded basically on impact. And I know that Chris I think he had passed on impact, and Johnny had went back to the car to try to pull him out, but he couldn't get him out. And then Johnny had died from his burns. And I remember the way I found out is I was on Instagram just laying in bed, and my friend Isaac, who was like their best friend that I'm friends with, you know, posted a picture of them all together saying like, I can't believe this is real. And it would said like posted 3 minutes ago. I call Isaac and I'm like, are you joking? And he was like, I'm not, bro. I wish I was. And he said like, he posted only that Chris passed. So I get in my car. I call my girlfriend at the time. I'm like, Johnny and Chris just passed. And I was just with them literally like the day before. I slept at their house. I slept at Chris's house. So I was just with him. And this is like the day I'm telling him I'm going to change my life and turn to God that same day. I woke up, you know, did my thing. I think it was 2 days after they had passed. And I would think I was playing the game with him the night before. So it was just like, this isn't real. Why is this happening to me? And another like...
another death,
Yeah, another death after I just told them.
Did you at that moment, you're like, you know what? I was about to have a relationship with you,
that's how I was
but
feeling. That's how I was feeling. I was so mad. I remember calling my mom and I'm like, I'm trying to change. I'm trying to turn to God. And it's like he keeps telling me like, he keeps showing me that he doesn't like me or something, you know? And I feel like that was him testing me, I think. Not that he took them out of my life, but that was a test because I heard that when you do have start trying to build your relationship with God, that there's going to be a lot of demons trying to pull you back and try to get you to fall back into that dark spot and, you know, not having faith. And I just remember driving over there, speeding to my friend Chris's house, and because everyone was there, his family was all there trying to get the news. And we get the news, you know, that he didn't make it. And I'm just like, you know, I'm in shock. And we're waiting to hear what's going on with Johnny because he said they were taking him to the hospital. I think after like 30 minutes or an hour waiting, they told me that he didn't make it either. And I was just like, ugh, I don't know. It was just terrible. Like, why is this happening, you know? And, you know, I feel like within these like last 3 to 4 years, I've probably lost more than like 10 friends to like gun violence, drugs, car accidents, like everywhere you can think. And they're all like my age, you know? So it feels so weird to think like, and have that mindset, like I might not live past 18, 19, 20. So during those years, I'm not thinking about my future. Like I'm not thinking of having a home and a kid, you know, like I'm just thinking about tomorrow. After they had passed, they started coming like to conclusion, you know, it is what it is. You know, everybody will die one day, sadly. It's a sad truth, but everybody will die one day and it might happen to you tomorrow or so you should always appreciate what you have.
Do you remember the first moment where you felt, you know, after feeling so neglected by God, after feeling like, you know, he doesn't love you or he doesn't want you to get closer to him? Do you remember the first moment where you felt like, okay, I feel like a connection with God? Was there a moment for you like that?
I remember I had this really weird dream one day. It was like a couple of days before they had passed. What started making me say like I need to turn to God, it was I had this dream where I had slept for 16 hours. I've never slept that long in my life, and I had slept for 16 hours that night, and it felt like I was sleeping forever. I had this like weird nightmare where I was in my room, and it was just during that time I was like really depressed. I'd always had like my LED lights but super low, and I would just be curtains closed, just in my room. And in my dream, I was in my room, just on my phone. Actually, I don't think I had my phone. I was just in my room, and it just felt like lonely. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt so lonely and cold and just like there was just no one there with me. I remember hearing my brother crying, and I was so like concerned, like, where is that? Why is he crying? And I look under my bed, and I could hear his voice crying. It sounded like he was underneath my bed crying, and I have like drawers underneath my bed, and I pull them open, and he's like somewhere. It was like a never-ending room down there. I crawl in there, and I like teleport into some giant room, and like everything was just black, and I could just hear people like screaming and crying, and I felt like people were grabbing my legs and scratching at me, and I was trying to get out of the room. I could see like a tunnel. I'm trying to get to the light, and I just felt like I was running forever, and I was stuck in there, and I could just hear all these people crying, and I felt like I think in that dream I went to hell, or I seen what hell was like. And out of nowhere, it's like a giant hand reached into where I was at and pulled me out and put me back on my bed. And I seen this weird creature. It looked like a demon or something. I don't even know what it was. And he was just staring at me. And I remember I wasn't scared of him, but I was just like, who are you and why are you in my room? And I remember trying to open my door, and it wouldn't open. And I would like punch the door and try kicking it. It wouldn't open.
And you wouldn't wake up at all?
No, and he just kept laughing at me and telling me like, you're here forever. And I know during that time I was kind of like suicidal. I was kind of feeling like I had nobody to talk to or, you know, vent to anymore because I just didn't know who could relate to me, you know? And I don't know. I just felt super alone. And I don't know if it was because I was thinking about suicide and God was telling me like, this is if you commit suicide, this is where you will go. That's what I was thinking. Maybe I just felt like I was alone, and he was just watching me, and I would just tell him like, just let me out, just let me leave my room. Like I wanted to try calling for help, and no one could hear me. And I don't know. He just kept making fun of me. Like just he would grab me and like throw me on the floor and like hit me, and I would try fighting him, and he was just too strong. Like I felt like he was just throwing me around the room, and I felt like I was in that dream forever. Like it never ended. And I finally woke up. And I think I had went to sleep like at 3 a.m. that night, and I woke up and it was like 7 p.m.
Oh shit! The next day.
Yeah, 7 p.m. the next day, and I woke up and I felt like I lost like my masculinity. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like I wasn't like a man. I felt like defeated because I felt like I lost the fight. And I remember thinking that day, like, is this the day that I think I decide to do this? Because I just feel so lost and so like alone and so depressed. And I just started praying in my car, like crying. And I remember praying and just asking for forgiveness and trying to like right all my wrongs. And I kept saying like, I promise I'll change. I'll stop drinking. I'll stop partying. Stop being lustful. Like all these things. I'll stop talking negative about people. I'll stay out of drama. Like I was just praying like, just forgive me for everything I have done. And it felt like I've done so much bad that I couldn't get forgiven no more. That's what I thought in my head. And I'm thinking like, telling myself the reason why I lost all these people is because of my choices, and this is God punishing me.
Were you thinking you were the problem at one point?
Yeah, I was thinking that, and I would have like a lot of survivor's guilt because seeing all my friends die young, and it'd be like I was just with you like an hour ago and now you're gone, and I would think it could have been me or it should have been me instead. And I just kept asking like, just forgive me. I fucked up, and I promise I'll change. And then I think that was like what made me turn, because I felt like that day I was gonna decide to finally do it. And when I was alone, it felt like God came and like hugged me, gave me a hug, and I think after that I was like, I'm just gonna pray every day. I'm just gonna try to help other people and talk to people about God. And
how has your life changed since getting closer to God? Do you see positive change in your life, in your emotional state? Do you see a difference?
I definitely do. I have my moments, because, it is a lot of traumatic stuff that I have went through, but I see a future now. Like I think about my future a lot more. And whenever something does happen, like an inconvenience or there's a obstacle in my way, I see like God's not going to put me through something that I can't handle. I've already been through so much. There's nothing that can put me back to where I was at before. I feel like there's nothing that could bring me back to that point anymore. Like I know how much my life means now, and I know that there's way more to life, and I know that I'm going to go through more stuff. I know that there's going to be obstacles, but I know that God will never put me through anything that I can't handle. Everyone will have their time in their life. Like I feel like it comes to you naturally. So if you're not a religious person, you may not, if you're watching this and you don't believe in God and you don't ever see yourself having a relationship with God, I promise you will one day. I think you will have your experience. It could be when you're 40, 20, 30, maybe 80 years old. Yeah. And I think that you'll have a moment where you will realize that God has been with you the entire time. He's been right behind you. You just haven't been talking to him. And I think if you really talk to him and, you just ask for forgiveness and pray to him when you're going through your hard times, and also pray for, be thankful for what you do have, because a lot of people forget to be thankful for the simple things. It's so easy to pray and ask for things. I want this, change this for me. I need more money, but you also have to sit back and look about what you do have, like the friends, the family, the roof over your head, little things, having a phone, having food, things like
the little
that.
things matter.
Yeah,
No, they really
everything
do.
does matter for sure. And you need to realize that, you have all that because of him. And once you're grateful for it, I think that you'll see life differently. You'll be more grateful for little things, and you have a more positive outlook on him, and just life in general. And I think your relationship will get better with him.
I'm so glad that we had this convo, and I'm so glad que ya en casita te pudieron conocer un poquito más. Ya para terminar today's interview, to finish it off, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I hope that I am more stable, I guess. I want to be like iconic on social media. Right now I'm still starting, but I want to be more like made my impact, maybe influence some people to even do what I do, and just be able to be remembered. And I'm hoping that I have a big house and a family. Maybe hope to be closer to my family too, like my brother, my sister, mom and dad. And yeah, that's where I see myself.
And I hope and manifest that all for you. You know, you'll say, just from hearing you talk, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous to like have this interview just because, I don't know, I feel like sometimes when you don't know a person, like, you know, a lot of the time I interview people that have had like, you know, some sort of relationship over the years or someone I bump into, but I'm so glad that we made this happen because I know not just everyone watching at home, but even myself, you know, got to see a different side of you. Y espero que ustedes pudieron ver este video, amigas, and really do truly see a different side of Gabe. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much. No, I really do. If you guys haven't followed Gabe already, you guys, ahí les dejo esa tarea. Go and follow him on all his social medias, which I'll leave down below, as well as on the screen. Y no se les olvide seguirme a mí, so you guys won't miss any future episodes. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.